Alright, man. Back with another episode of Tough Dialogue. This time, we in Modesto, California, secret location. And I got my boy Jay Keys with me. So to add context to this episode, because, I got to explain the backstory of why we in Modesto, California, out of all places. So we got a concert this coming up. And I got Jay Keys with me, playing the keys. But we've been here out, well, we've been here on this trip. But I just want to get, off the rip, add some context to how this all came about. So, Jay Keys is a producer. Found him on TikTok about 3 years ago. And it was around the time I was going to Dreamville Festival. I don't know why I'm talking probably like this, but it was around the time. It was around the time I was going to Dreamville Festival, and I saw him on TikTok, and then so I get to the festival, and y'all know it's like 20,000 people, 30,000. It was around COVID time people, and I saw him. He was standing beside his sister, whatever, talking to my cousin's wife. So I was like, dang, bro, look familiar. And so I was like, it was tripping me out because I'm like, he shouldn't look familiar. And I was like, maybe he from Mississippi. So I asked my cousin, I was like, bro, ask, Miyoshi who that is over there. And she was like, that's such and such brother, whatever. So I went up to him, and I was just like, hey, bro, you Jay Keys? Like, yeah, bro. I was like, man, I just seen your TikTok the other day, man. That's crazy. And so basically I told her, I said, man, that's crazy. I said, I was working on an album at the time, Don't Look Back. And I was like, based off this story alone, we gotta lock in. Yeah. Like, this was a sign. So we ended up, I can't remember when, but eventually, we got to join on the album, starting to see it. And that's, how it started. And then I think the following year I went out to LA and we labbed up again. And then the following year, which would have been this year, went out to LA, labbed up again. But yeah, so that's the backstory to how we linked up. Straight up divine time. Time. So, with that being said, we are two wealthy Black American men, who are growing in their faith, and so, the music is now in play. And it can get kind of shaky with collaborators and all that. So, as a producer for you, how do you? Because it's different for me as like an artist. I control a good bit of what I put out, which I guess you can too. Yeah. But let's say you growing in your faith, whatever. How do you feel about like when you get somebody a beat and they just talking crazy on your beat, like? Does that make you feel some type of way? You know what I'm saying?
Maybe feel some type of way. No, but now I've been more proactive in vetting out who the artist is before I even try to work with them or reach out.
So you more proactive in reaching out to artists.
Yeah.
So, but what if somebody?
If artists reach out to me, it's like.
But I guess you get the vet.
I can see like what do they put out, and if that don't really align with my beliefs, and I don't want that attached to my name, then I just won't do it.
I see that. I'm trying to think of a situation to where, cause I ain't trying to call nobody. Yeah, cause I don't even know who you work with. So I ain't even trying to get your shoulder.
Yeah.
But I just know for me now, I'm at the point now, which my music was gradually clean. Now it's more like faith-based stuff in it and all that.
Yeah.
But me as an artist, I can control who featuring on my stuff. Period.
Right.
And so I have people that don't really make gospel rap now. They just make regular songs, and they hit me up. Well, those people don't matter. It still be some street. It still be some craziness. People just be wanting to get me on their song, and I don't understand. But I can control that more as far as just not doing it. But I was wondering, like, producers, because if you just, like, selling beats or sending beats out, you never really know who, who hands the beat may land in. And then let's say it's somebody big.
Yeah.
It's like how you know what I'm saying? It's like
I'll
how
navigate
you pull
that.
the plug on that. Or not necessarily pull the plug on that. I mean, it's just how do you maneuver around that situation?
Well, so you're saying
I ain't trying to name no artists to give specific examples.
right.
That's what, like.
Well, that's the thing though. So now I'm at a point where it's like I have autonomy in who I work with now. Like before, previously, like
Right.
2021 through 2022, like that's when I was, kind of like chasing placement. So I would like send it out to whoever, you know.
Okay.
And that's when I was on TikTok heavy and stuff, and like people would reach out and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
It's after going through all that, it's not really fulfilling, in a sense.
That's what I be wondering. That's what I want. Cause I mean, I can only imagine a producer just like okay, I even use me. Well, I can't use it. Like you said, you kind of control who you work with, so I get it. But it just like you think one thing, then they just get on there talking reckless. Then you just because you never really know.
Yeah, you never really know, but
unless they just straight out. Like it's hard to. I ain't trying to get you in trouble. Like I said, who you work with, but I get what you're saying. You kind of got control.
Yeah.
Of what who you work with. I'm gonna tell you how that was great. The crazy thing. So I guess in that same sense, I think it was probably like we did Starting to See It in 2023. So we did Starting to See It in like 2023. And I think you was just sending me beats, which is what I don't do. As far as like just working with anybody. Like I know we met and we had to lock in, but it was just kind of like we did that, and then it was just like that because we really didn't know each other at all. At all. It was like you was probably the only. And Nico was probably like the only stranger, technically, on my album. But the story in itself was like we just gonna make it work. And it's crazy. I remember I look back at our messages to see when that was, and it is funny because you was like, you sent the beat, and I was like, how much I owe you? And you was like, nah, it's good. And I was like, nah, how much I owe you? And I don't remember what it said after that, but I don't think I sent you no money for that beat.
Yeah. But
I was just like, dang. Fast forward to that moment to now.
Yeah.
It's like, dang, bro. Depending on what you could have charged me. Depending on what you would have charged me, which actually you told me the price straight up. Actually, you did tell me the price. You was like, it's such and such, but you good. And I was like, dang. It could have all went different. You know what I'm saying? It could have been transactional. But it turned what it turned into. But I was thinking off of that because when the song dropped, that was, or when we made the song, it probably was like mid-2023.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, we still didn't really know each other. I came out there in 2024. That was kind of me trying to, if I'm going to be working with this dude, let me, go out there. And I appreciate the, hospitality, Southern hospitality, you know.
Man.
Letting us hit the stew and coming out there. But even with that, we ain't really chop it up. I probably wouldn't consider you a, I mean, you was just associate. I wouldn't consider you a friend because it was just, we weren't just talking like that. It was just
we just getting there.
Work based. And I just was like, man, all the people I work with, I know them. And I was like, I don't really know what this dude's goals are. And I feel like as a friend, I know my friends' goals because it's like, or even like people I work with know their goals. So it's like, how can I assist you in reaching your goals?
Yeah.
And we just kind of work. And I was like, man. And I think I called you. When did I call you? It was random too. Oh, it was last year, of course. It might have been like right for my Atlanta show or something like that. But we had just did Ain't Work For Me. I think I was out there 3-4 days, something like that.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, let me call the dude and just chop it up. I ain't heard from him. Literally, we did the song in January. There ain't no form of communication until like the summertime. I was like, man. And the song actually was doing good on social media. So I'm like, man, let me chop it up, see what this dude, you know what I'm saying? Let me see what this dude about.
Yeah.
And we chopped it up. And I remember that was around the time, I mean, Ain't Work For Me. Yeah, you consider like gospel rap. But that was around the time where I was doing that. Oh, that's what it was. When Star Ringo had just reached out to me about doing the show. Yeah, he had just reached out to me at the Dallas show. And I was like, dang. These like Christian artists. And I just started seeing like people would just put me in that lane. So I'm like, okay. Now I'm in this Christian artist lane. And we talked about that on the phone too, how I thought it was corny. I was like, bruh. And I think you even mentioned it. You was like, I'm trying to work with more artists like that or something like that. And when you said that, I was like, maybe this is my sign to, go more into that lane.
Yeah.
Because I don't know exactly. We probably would talk about some people. Probably talk about some people in specific, but I was
I remember that conversation.
I was like, man.
But we both agreed to like, we wanted to do it in a way where it wasn't like looked at as corny.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Because to me, I don't make a song intentionally and be like it's going to be what it is. It's really just you know what I'm saying? My life is my life. I made this song about my life. And I think that's kind of what we was talking about. It's like, bro, it be seeming forced. Like, I ain't gonna do it for it's corny. It's like, don't even do that like that.
Right. And
we kind of talked about that, but that conversation kind of stuck me because I was like, man, okay. Because I was already like, well, is this the lane that I should go into, transition into? I was like, he slick, said he need, he trying to work with some of them artists. I was like, well, I can do that for him. I was like, because we had just made Ain't Work For Me.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm trying to think of but anyway, that conversation happened.
Yeah. And
then that just kind of stuck with me. I don't know what I dropped. Oh, and then I dropped the 2 Light in the Dark EPs. That really what, I don't want to say solidified it for me, but that's when people was like, yep, Christian rap or gospel rap, whatever they want to call it.
Yeah.
And then I had the show in Dallas. And you just magically popped up again.
Yep.
And I was like, man, what the world?
4th of July weekend.
4th of July weekend. It's like, bro, I'm going to be in Dallas.
Yep.
I said, dang. So he pulled up to the show, you know what I'm saying? We chopped it up. I don't think he was with me that first day with my family, but we chopped it up. I was like, dang, bro, keep popping up. This is like some crazy divine timing stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, cool, popped it up. Appreciate it, you know what I'm saying? Showing love. And then I don't think I did nothing for the rest of the year, really. But that kind of.
Oh, well, yeah. No, that was last year.
That was last year. Yeah, that was last year.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think nothing really happened.
Yeah, nothing after that for real.
After that. But we was more in contact at that point.
Yeah.
I think we probably was working on some stuff. And then we definitely was more in contact at that point on. And then transitioned to the end of the year, and then I guess January we did the whole little album.
Yeah, man.
The whole little album. The whole little Yours Always album. And then I had the show in Charlotte.
Yeah.
And you popped up at that one. I'm like, bro. I'm like, okay. Bro. And at that point, that was a crazy trip for me too, because I was like, even though my family was there, in the moments that I'm getting ready for a show, it was all new people, not like my normal crew. And you pulled up, and I was like, dang, okay, well, I got at least one person, a familiar face that's around, and that was big. That was needed for sure, just the presence. Cause I ain't gonna lie, I was like, man, doing too much, running around, but and that all led to this point, and now we doing this show, and I was like, man, that's wild.
Yeah, man.
That's wild. And now, I would consider you a very close friend at this point.
Yeah, bro.
And it started at freaking
TikTok.
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 Bro.
TikTok. But nah, for real. That conversation for real last year that we had, that really steered my lane of what I,
Yeah.
how I was gonna like do my work.
Mhm.
Cause I mean, like, dude working with me, I hate to be the one. I hate to be the one where the person's like, man, this dude right here, like. So nah, you mentioned how you wanted to, work with some more faith-based artists, and I was already in the tug of war,
Yeah.
and that kind of got how it got to.
Mhm.
But yeah, so that's crazy.
Yeah, man. I think we all have gifts, man, that were bestowed upon us, and
For sure.
I think it's only right that we use our gifts for good. Glorify
Right.
the one who gave it to us.
Facts.
So
It's only right. It's
Yeah,
only
man.
right. And so we hear that and got another
man.
album on tuck. I
It's
mean,
that-
you hear that? I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? That's crazy. We've been here for a whole week
yeah.
working on a whole nother album.
Mhm.
It's just like, man. And what's even crazy, when I did that show in January,
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you to play, but flying people in the Starville is crazy work.
Yeah. I'm already knowing.
And I flew all the other artists in, so I was like, no, I ain't gonna lie. That LA ticket to Starville or to Jackson, whatever, it probably was like $900.
Mm.
I was like, well,
Mm.
I ain't even bring it up.
Yeah.
And then you end up doing like a tiny desk or
Yeah.
something.
Audition.
Yeah, you
Yep.
did like a tiny desk, and then I did bring it up. He's like,
Yeah.
man, yeah, I'm trying to do some more stuff like that. I was like, well, I got this show in Oakland,
Yeah.
and on one of them clips from the studio, hindsight 2020,
Mhm.
Shane was like, we coming back out here.
Yeah.
We coming back out here for that show in Oakland. You should pull up. And you was like, I might. How far that is, Shane? Like, how far that is? He's like, probably like 6 hours. And now it's like you playing at the show.
Yep.
So, that's crazy. That's crazy
Yeah,
work.
man.
That's crazy work. So as I was saying, two wealthy African American men working these 9 to 5s though. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And pursuing music. I don't really know if it's different from a producer standpoint, but like, what's your point of view on that situation? Paint the picture on what people don't understand about
Yeah, man.
having to get it in like that. You know what I'm saying?
It's it's
Without
a grind for
incriminating
sure, man. It's a grind, man. It's a grind, but I look at it as with anything you do in life, right? You got to be able to fund yourself, right? And if you want to get
You
to
said
that
fund?
yeah,
Yeah,
you got to be
facts.
able to fund yourself, especially with your
Facts.
dream, man. So
Facts.
I just look at it as this is one tool that I'm using to get to my goal, but it's hard, but it's a consistent check though, and I haven't gotten to that point to where I can quit.
Right.
I could quit,
Right.
but it's like, do I want to do that? Because I mean, that's a big leap of faith. I
It
mean,
really is though.
but
Nah, it was crazy, and like you said, that's what you gotta have. At the end of the day, you just gotta have the money.
you do.
That's
You do,
really
you
what it
do,
come
you do.
down to. However you getting it, I ain't however you get it.
Right.
I ain't telling nobody to do nothing illegal, but really, honestly, what it come to at the end of the day is having the money
Yeah.
to pour back into it, and then
Mhm.
you get to the point where your time is more valuable than the bread. Then you gotta
Right.
cut back on the job, but it's like, God, leave, boy.
Yeah.
Some of them nights, it's just, I guess, crazy. And I'm sure you probably do this too, but it's like I'll be knowing I got work every day, same schedule,
Yeah.
and I'll be like, I can't really operate under 6 hours of sleep. So if I get under 6, I'm creativity low, social
Yeah.
battery low. but I do it to myself every time. Like
Mhm.
10 o'clock, I gotta leave the yo.
Yeah.
Cause I ain't going to sleep as soon as I get to the crib. I ain't gonna lie, I'm
Yeah,
wasting an hour and a half
yeah.
or an hour 15. I'm wasting at least an hour. But
Mhm.
every time I got an alarm set. Matter of fact, it's one at 9 to remind me to turn the cameras on, and
Yeah.
then one at 10 is like getting ready for bed, and it's
Right.
like it's time to wrap it up, save everything.
Mhm.
But every time
Go
and
over.
I it's like when I'm getting ready to leave, I start something new, and
Uh-huh.
be there till midnight, and I just be like,
Yeah.
like that's how. That's how it be for you, bro. Like
I mean, yeah, but you gotta remember, like, we not robots, bro. Sometimes you get
Fact.
inspiration,
Nah, for
you know,
real.
and you gotta lock in on the idea, cause it's like spur of the moment type thing. But
Fact.
you know, but it's like if it were easy, everybody would do
for
it,
sure,
bro.
for sure.
So you know, you just gotta roll with the punches, man. Some nights you're not gonna be able to,
Yeah.
you know, have that sleep, but
Well, to that point you just said,
yeah,
we ain't robots. So you're right,
Right.
we ain't robots. So we do need the rest.
yeah, we do.
How do you feel about like cause I'm a person, I'm like, man, I mean, you know, as soon as we got here, I'm like, man, I ain't trying to sleep on these trips. When I go on these trips, I will sleep when I get home.
Yeah.
No, I'll sleep. I'll sleep when I get home.
Yeah,
But at the same time, and that's just my mindset, even when I am home, it's like, bro, I'm camped out.
mhm.
How you feel about that? Like it's just like a constant, like, quote unquote, like hustle culture type vibe. Like,
I don't like how. I mean, I get it. You gotta work hard, cause you know, but it's like people are like Is it glamorizing or they're making it?
right,
Glorifying it, or
yeah,
it's
something
like
around
the
that.
whole
Yeah.
hustle culture thing. It's like
yeah.
yes, it's important to work
yeah.
hard, but also you don't want to burn yourself out to a point where it affects your mental, and then it's like then you can't even hustle no more because you're not in the right headspace to do it. So it's like you do need rest, right? But
Yep.
it's balancing everything, you know.
I'm gonna take it a step further.
Yeah.
And I just thought about that. It's actually becoming an idol.
Mm.
You're
It is.
really idolizing it,
Yeah.
cause that's what you're putting all your time to.
Right.
So it's like, I mean, for real, like
Mhm.
you idolizing.
You
and,
are.
and people don't even realize the different ways that they like. People think you idolize money and all that, but
Mhm.
your dreams
You
really can idolize your dreams for real.
You can.
Cause if you like selfish ambition, like if I always remind myself or try to remind myself, like what you doing it for?
Right. Purpose is everything.
Cause if it's just for my gain,
Mhm.
then I'm idolizing it. My priorities ain't right. My
Right.
intentions behind what I'm doing ain't right. So yeah, even hustle culture, and I'm still 50-50. You
Mhm.
know, some nights it go overboard, and you just working too hard, and you get distracted, and it just overtakes your schedule, and everything you doing revolving around your dream and all
Right. Yeah.
that. Then it gets to the point where you do become idle. So I'm trying to do better in like getting that
Mhm.
word in. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, yeah, because that's Matthew 6:33. It says, "Seek first the kingdom of God,
Facts.
and all your needs will be bestowed upon you." Something like that.
Something like that. The last 30 days, I just been saying it in my head.
Yeah.
And it lets me rest. I saw this video. It was like the reason people can't sleep
Mhm.
or like don't feel well at like all right, I can go to sleep today.
Yeah.
Because they wasted their time. So it's like
It is. It's that
if-
phone.
it's like it's like
Right.
if you got 5 days during the week,
Yeah.
God gave you 5 days during the week to complete this task.
Mhm.
But you wasted all them 5 days and it took you 7. So now you can't even rest, or you feel some type of way about resting on the weekend.
Right.
And you should have already. If you know you handle your business,
Mhm.
you can live with
Yeah.
taking it in for the night.
Yeah. Time management is key, bro.
Amazing.
Because like, you know, our parents are right. When we were younger, man, they're like, it's that phone. It really is that phone, bro. Sometimes, like, you ever see how long you on the app? Sometimes you like, dang, I was on this
I'm
joint for an
scared. I
hour,
don't even look at
2
my screen time. I'm scared.
2 hours, man.
That's crazy though.
That's like
That's facts though.
Yeah.
And then you add that on to you done been in the studio all day.
right.
So then you get home when you supposed to go to sleep, and now you add an extra hour and a half on your phone.
Hey, look, on the phone while you sleep. Can't go to sleep because you're on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's tough. These episodes ain't really interviews. They more so conversation.
Yeah.
But I pretty much ended off, I asked everybody the same thing. And since earlier we was talking about, using gifts to, glorify God who gave them to us.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that in mind when I ask, like, was it a tough conversation that you had to have with somebody, or like, even yourself, that got you to the point where it's like you gonna do that, like, or I guess that got to this point?
I think it was just my experiences. Like, at one point in my journey, right, I wanted it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
So, when I got the quote unquote clout and, people recognize me for doing this and this.
That's how I found that boy, that boy clotted up.
Yeah, it's like, the phrase, like, the grass ain't always green on the other side. So, when that stuff, when I, got the clout and, people mentioning me and, people wanting to work, and then being in them rooms, it's like, dang, like, this ain't really hitting us like how I thought it would hit. Mm-hmm. And so with that, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to just stick it out. I'm going to thug it out, and keep doing it. And then it got to a point where I was like, it didn't sit right. And it had me questioning, like, why am I doing this?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I really had to.
Is it a experience or something like that in specific that come to mind?
There's many.
The one that was like, that did it for you.
There's a lot. Like, chasing placements, working, being in rooms for an artist. It's like, man, like, younger me would have been like, what? Like,
Right.
Yo.
But you unk now, so.
I'm unk now.
Nah, let me chill out. We say, hey, let me chill out. Let me chill out.
Nah. But now it's just like, man, all that stuff, it don't mean nothing at the end. It's like, it's not fulfilling. So, and I think, so really my mindset shifted at the beginning of this year. It's funny because I think seeds have always been planted.
For sure.
And so, like, even when I worked with you on, like, starting to see it ain't work for me. Like, that's the happiest I've been, like, just, working on music for real.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, man, it's like I actually enjoy working on stuff, with Thomas.
Right.
But then when I'm working with stuff for other artists, it's like, bro, it's like a burden. It's like, why am I doing this?
Right. But I feel like that's probably because we in alignment. That's really what it come down to.
Yeah.
And I think having that even before we had the conversation that we had last year, that just kind of tied it together. That was just kind of the confirmation of it all.
Right.
But without even talking, literally, no text, no communication, just, hey, bro, you got some beats.
Mm-hmm.
The direction that I was taking it was, in line with, like you said.
Yeah.
And then our weekend, I can't remember what all we made. We worked, obviously ain't worked for, what else did we do?
We did a bunch.
We did a bunch. All of them ain't work for me.
Right, they weren't. But we got some stuff in the vault for sure.
Yeah. Actually, I'm trying to think. The one Isaac was there.
Isaac was there.
Okay, Isaac was there.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
So
did we do a whole EP?
Did the couches joint?
We did the couches joint. I ain't make none of that though.
Yeah, but we also did. I don't think we did an EP, but.
What else we got, bro? How many songs we got? We ain't work for me. Did we? Maybe I know we ain't do all that and then only ain't work for me was the one. I feel like it was one more.
It might have been just it though, but
you weren't. It might have been, but the whole vibes, like
Yeah, it was just it was good. But yeah, man. Back what I was saying. The beginning of this year, it was like my resolution to, get closer to God and really strengthen my faith. And if I call myself a Christian and don't know the word, it's like that don't really add up. So I made it my goal to read the Bible in its entirety for a year. So, and that's really been helping me. Yeah.
And that's big because I probably for me I'll probably say experiences too.
Yeah.
But the seed was already planted because what's funny, 459 like I ain't even know mustard seed, size of mustard seed.
Size of a mustard
I ain't
seed,
even know
yeah.
that was a scripture. Like that's something like that just go back to how I was raised.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
growing up in the South, Christian family, all that. That's just how I was raised. Those values implanted in you,
Right.
and that's what I do. I make music about like how I'm going, my journey in life, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And when I made that song, it would just come from everything piled up, and that came out. And then everybody was like, "Man, this boy crazy," and I was just like, "That's just something like my grandma used to always say." Like,
right.
And then I learned, I was like, "Oh dang, this a freaking,
scripture, man."
But see, that just go back to you got to get in that word.
Yeah, man.
And I was like, man, with those experiences adding up, and it was just like, man, it just constantly, seeds was planted.
Yeah.
And then after Don't Look Back drop, I remember I kind of made a big deal. I mean, it was my first full-length album.
Yeah.
So, it was a big deal, big rollout. And it was good. It was a good, thorough project.
Yeah.
Love Is What was on there, hit 1 million. But I remember when that actually hit 1 million on my birthday, the day that the album dropped.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, it's cool. But like you said, it wasn't fulfilling. And not that my music was never crazy. Like, that album crazy.
Right.
It wasn't never, but I was holding back, though. That's what it was. It's like the seasons there. Like, if you listen to the album, I would flirt with it throughout the album. But it wasn't it was both like, it was plausible deniability. I could be like, man, no, Christian rapper. Christian, where you get that from? But you look at the lyrics, it's like, this is where I get it from. And I was like, man, you know what? And this is end of 2023. And I was like, bro, I told Jalen, Jalen Jackson, I was like, bro, and I only told like 2 people. I told my uncle who I always beat, not my uncle, my cousin husband who I always beat, talk about my music. I told him at the Christmas party, and I told Jalen, I said, bro, at the beginning of 2024, my music gonna be different, bro. It's just gonna be slightly different. I ain't say what it was gonna be. I just said slightly different. Ain't gonna be nothing crazy, but it's gonna be slightly different. And January came.
I ain't waiting for me.
Nah.
Oh.
459 went viral before. Yeah, that was the week that I came out there. So 459 went stupid. Boom. Then we did Ain't Work For Me.
Yeah.
Boom. Like the first 20 songs I dropped last year was like Christian rap songs because I did them.
Yeah.
Then I dropped the 2 EPs back to back, the Light in the Dark EPs. And then we had the conversation that we had, and I was just like, bro, all the signs is there. It's like I'm trying to think what we did out there, but all the signs was there. And then, we at the point that we at now, 2025. And it's I don't, like I said, I never make music. It's like, all right, we finna make this gospel song right here.
Right.
It's just what I'm going through. And as we growing in our faith, it's gonna bleed through the music. And it's just great because as, you produce and me artists, we in line with the same thing.
Yeah.
And so it's like, even this whole weekend, the stuff we've been making, it's easy to make these songs so we both know what we trying to get to.
Exactly.
It ain't tugging away from each other. And that's kind of tough. It actually make it easy for me to deny features because it'd be like, bro, y'all see what I'm on. Yeah. But nah, like that's real talk. I think for me too, is experiences. And them experiences. I mean, we literally did it. Boom. I mean, and it is what it is.
It's crazy, man.
Crazy. And even with I told you the other week, and it's like that iron sharpening that iron. When you did the Bible challenge, I remember, you be posting, I be like, man, I ain't got on the challenge.
Right.
But it definitely made me was like, all right, I ain't doing what you doing, but it definitely was like, actually it was like, okay, it's almost like accountability. Like,
it is.
Like, I can't be, like you said, how you gonna be a Christian? You ain't in the word for real. And how people looking up to me through my music for X amount of reasons, and I can't, I ain't in the word for real.
Yeah.
And so, that kind of made me want to, I was like, man, let me tap in.
Yeah.
Let me tap in a little bit like that. But nah, for real. And so I just think that's crazy. And we kind of similar path. And what you realize when you meet people, what I realize now when you meet people, a lot of us live the same lives. We had the same experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And we just have a lot in common. Like, just a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, dang, bro, really, like, I be thinking you be from Mississippi, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Because I be forgetting. Like, I could think we went to school together, for real.
Yeah.
But you, I mean, that's just how it is. And we just met how it was. And now we got the show, got the albums, and all that. So, no, that's crazy. That's crazy. So, no, I think so definitely them experiences come into play. I'm trying to think of a gem that I want to leave at the end for the people. I ain't really thinking of nothing like a quotable. I can't really think of nothing that I want to just leave them with. Just
Yeah. I think I might got one. This is scripture.
Okay.
But I feel like that's a good gem though. Living with scripture, man.
Yeah.
So it's John 14:21. Whoever has my commands and keeps them is the one who loves me. And the one who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I too will love them and manifest myself to them. That's it.
Boy, there's no way you was about to spit that. Ain't no way you was about to
I just spit it without reading it.
I thought,
Yeah.
Hey, real talk.
Real talk.
You go.
I go. But yeah. That's a gem, man,
Real talk.
Real talk.
Well,
Might not make it in the video, but
it's making the video. We're just gonna have to cut it.
I go.
Well, J Keys, man.
Thomas Austin, man.
They know who I am. But yeah, this is another episode of that Tough Dialogue.
Yeah.
Got this show. It's coming up, man. Yes, sir, Ski.
Yes, sir.